So good evening again, everyone. Thank you so much for being interactive while we wait for our facilitator this afternoon. Our facilitator this afternoon is the Right Honorable Priest, Kailash Leons. He will be teaching tonight on nutritional marketing. He is a renowned global wellness thought leader and lifestyle influencer. As a grandmaster herbal physician, farmer chef, social media influencer, and ethical entrepreneur. His expertise expands multiple countries, showcasing his commitment to holistic healing and sustainable living. For the past 25 years, he has devoted his life for helping people heal and live in harmony with nature. Through his establishment, Great Physician International, he has produced a line of herbal products that have been delivering life-saving results to countless users. So before we begin, I just want to also note that the poll will be launched in our Q&A segment, so please look out for that. So without further ado, I will now pass it on to the Honorable Priest.
Yes, my sister, give thanks. How is everyone doing? Everyone blessed.
Well,
give thanks for the intro. Yeah, I can see the thumbs up and everything,
yeah.
and all the
Okay.
the love and all the hearts and all these things there. This evening, pardon me again for coming in a bit tardy. I had a wonderful presentation in mind for you today as one of the most critical things. I'm gonna put on my camera just now. I'm going to. Do I have sharing privileges? Do I have sharing privileges? Can I share screen?
Yes, you can. You're a panelist, so you can go ahead. Let me just double check and just make you a co-host. So it give you permission to, just in a matter of.
Okay, all right.
You're given permission, so let me know if you can share, please. Thank you.
All right, keep on. Just 1 second then. All right, so this evening I was tasked to really look into the realms of nutrition, as a marketing instrument, and one of the things that we normally speak about is just the fact that we sell what we call leaves, it's leaves is what we sell to do everything. I mean, our whole business is based upon just the selling of leaves, the leaves of plants. And just for us to be able to get into that state, what we had to do is to look at these leaves, analyze these leaves, and then see how beneficial these leaves there could actually be to our people, to human beings on the whole. So as we move forward, I just want you to just bear in mind that what we refer to as food, the definition of it is what we refer to as anything that is life enhancing and also therapeutic. What does that mean? It means that food is something that you could actually consume, and when you consume it, it enhances your life, and then being therapeutic, it means that it has what you refer to as medicinal properties. So the food that you actually consume is basically your medicine. So coming from that point, if it is that you are in agriculture, which really is agreeing with culture, let's say agriculture is agreeing with culture. So you agree with culture, the culture of self-sustainability, the culture of just being able to take care of self, the culture of being able to take care of your family, and just the culture of just being able to survive. Now, I'm just gonna put on my camera there in a bit. So the critical aspect of our works that we have been doing over the years, when we initially began in St. Lucia, it was very difficult because most people really looked at um, herbs and things as obia, witchcraft, and so many of the people that used to deal with herbs would be the people that people would look at as people who's working witchcraft or all type of thing. So in St. Lucia, when we initially came out of medical school in 2006, and St. Lucia was #1 in the world with diabetes, you know, we began a program specifically that was geared towards educating our people on just the herbs that actually exist around us as a people. And some of these herbs would be the normal Zeb Chapatier, the normal shadow belly, the normal patchouli, the normal parsley, the normal chichima, turmeric, the normal cabbage, the normal things that we actually plant, the tea loin, the chives, all these things that we actually plant. All these things there is what we began to educate people about, because if it is that you're going to have a product, you're going to have something you want to sell to people. I mean, most people, if it is that the people don't know exactly what is it that they are going to buy, they have no idea of how this is going to be beneficial to them, no one will actually utilize it. So it was very difficult initially because of how people used to stereotype even herbs, even like medicinal plants. So when I was tasked to actually speak of nutrition as a means of marketing, how is it that you could speak of the benefits of things as a means of marketing? That's basically my life, you know. So I remember telling Sister Kiflin that I sell everything I have is leaves, I sell green leaves. So before people used to talk about St. John's bush, which is Justicia secunda, which is one of the herbs that actually grows wild in St. Lucia. And it's one of the herbs that when you pour hot water over it, it literally turns um, pink, like deep, deep, deep pink, even some of it red. And no one knew about St. John's bush. Now St. John's bush is like a world-renowned plant, just out of the works that we actually did when it came towards just educating people, telling people about the benefits of St. John's bush. Also, when you look at herbs like red raspberry, the wild red raspberry that grows in Fonce Jacques, that grows um, up in the rainforest. Nobody used to use that, you know, because of education, telling people about the benefits of this herb. I mean, right now, red raspberry is a very commercialized herb. Even when we look at St. Lucian sea moss, St. Lucian sea moss, I remember in 2018, 2017, 2018, there was a brother by the name of Nimrod from Poilin. He used to be a sea moss farmer, but he used to work on the cruise ship. And he brought about 4 or 5 bags of sea moss for me and say, but priest boy, help me, help me sell that sea moss, man. Help me sell that sea moss, and thing. And I mean, at that time, sea moss was like $7 a pound, $8 a pound. And he brought like bags of sea moss for me that he just had there and couldn't get rid of. And then he went out on the cruise ship. So he was literally working on the cruise ship. So what we did with CMOS, the St. Lucian CMOS, was that we created a narrative, meaning that we said, well, okay, let us talk about what makes St. Lucian CMOS different. So we looked at the history of the CMOS, how it was growing. And growing up in Labrie, I grew up in a time whereby literally, I mean, CMOS was something that was just grown, on wild on the coral reefs in Labrie Village, and people used to die for sea moss until all the corals used to get damaged and all the fishes, the habitats, and then they began cultivating it on the ropes. So I understood completely the art of growing sea moss in St. Lucia. So we really went about 2018, I gave a cousin of mine from Canada, about 50 pounds of the St. Lucia sea moss. And because he was a former basketball player, I asked him to just begin to speak about St. Lucian sea moss, and I gave him the information and the song bites and everything that he has to say about the sea moss. And we literally educated people about sea moss for like 4 years straight, 2018, 2019, 2020, and then COVID hit in like about 2020. And the first year, 2018, when we began educating people about the CMOS, we sent the St. Lucian CMOS into a lab in Canada, and we examined all the nutrient content, whether it had cyanide or arsenic or any heavy metals, lead, because it's grown in the ocean, and St. Lucian CMOS was like one of the cleanest CMOS in the world. So we use all that information and began to aggressively just speak about St. Lucian sea moss. And by the time that we came to 2018, 2019, St. Lucian sea moss already had a place on the international market where it was known as almost like the #1 sea moss in the world. By 2020, we used to ship like probably every month or 6,000 pounds of sea moss every month, to the extent that during COVID, that CMOS became so expensive that they used to sell CMOS on the like 50 US a pound. 50 US a pound. CMOS was like 50 US a pound. And from $8, the farmers began getting all like $35 a pound. Why? That came through out of the marketing, having the knowledge of the CMOS, and that CMOS contained all the trace minerals. And one of the myths that they say, well, CMOS have all the minerals except iron, but St. Lucian CMOS also had iron. When we did our studies, we saw that St. Lucian sea moss had plenty of iron. So that was also like a strong marketing point for us, not just the iodine and the zinc and all the potassium and everything else, the selenium. That the St. Lucian sea moss had all the trace minerals that someone actually needed. So our marketing campaign took St. Lucian sea moss from Nimrod coming and say, hey, priest boy, help me sell a sea moss, and just leaving sea moss with me, to the point that we were writing checks of like $75,000 to farmers. Like a farmer bring bags and van full of sea moss all the way into the mountain, and just as they bring it, poof, because the demand became so high. Now I'm sharing that with you because if it is that you don't understand the value of what you have, and don't understand that many of the things that we grow in St. Lucia indigenously, many of the herbs that grows in St. Lucia indigenously, that you might believe have no use, these things there is nothing, and then you might be walking on it, peeing on it, cutting it and throwing it away. These things they are phenomenal. And it is when it is that you as an individual begin to dig deep into the nutrient content of the plants that we have. I'm not even talking about the things that you would grow like in for farming purposes, like your lettuce and your kale and your broccoli and your cauliflower, or anything that you might grow, or your basil. I'm talking about, we literally took the time out and study, right? Learn of the what you call the phytonutrients, because in nutrition is only a component, it's just one of the components of what you call biochemistry. And biochemistry is a subject that deals with how the human biology, right? How the human biology deals with chemicals, how the human biology deals with the biological chemicals that we actually interact with in our food, in the atmosphere. So nutrition is just one aspect of biochemistry. So in nutrition, you learn about the different food groups, like your proteins, your carbohydrates, your fats, your vitamins, vital amines, and then your minerals. All right. Now, the proteins now is the aspect of the food that actually is built up by subunits of what we call amino acids. So a protein molecule, if this is like, if I have two little shells in my hand, so these two shells will come together. So you have one shell, one amino acid, two amino acid will be joined together, what they call a peptide bond. So you have two, then you have three, then you have four, you have five, you have six, then you have, so when all these different amino acids come together, it forms a protein. Now, a protein's primary responsibility within the physical structure is for growth and repair. Growth and repair. So when you consume proteins, what it does that it assists the physical structure to grow, but also to repair damaged tissue. All right. Now, the key thing that you have to understand about protein is that protein cannot be stored within the physical structure. Like if you have excess fats, you could store excess sugar, you could store, but as any protein you eat, right? As soon as you consume it, your physical structure will take what it needs and the rest of it will be expelled. All right? Through your urine as urea. So you urinate urea, which is a byproduct of protein metabolism. So people say, um, um, I eat animal products just because I need proteins. Every single plant has proteins. Every single plant in the world that you could think about has protein. Why? Because every enzyme is a protein. And what's an enzyme? An enzyme is what you call a biological catalyst. What is a catalyst? A catalyst is something that actually speeds up a reaction without changing itself. So let's say I'm going to break this, all right? Like normally, if this stays there, it will break, but I can catalyze that reaction by breaking it faster, but I'm not changing. That can fit in my hand. I break it, it faster. So a catalyst can break things, can build up, can join. They make reactions faster without changing themselves. So an enzyme, like your saliva, has salivary amylase. That's an enzyme that breaks down starch into glucose. The enzyme does not change, it just breaks the sugar in your food, your starch, your carbs into glucose. Now, every enzyme is a protein. So proteins basically are involved in all the metabolic processes of our animals and our plants. So when you say, oh boy, our plants have no proteins, now man, all your plants, every single plant has protein. Trust me. Right? So, and also the proteins in plants are a lot more accessible. They are very, very, very accessible, easily digested. Then we look at our carbs. So you have your carbohydrates. Your carbohydrates is basically they contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. That's why I call it carbohydrates. So carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So carbohydrates include things like your sucrose, which is table sugar, include things like fructose, like when I say corn, like corn syrup and them things there, or like sugar in your fruits is called fructose. It's a sugar. Sugar in your milk, in milk, is called lactose. It's a sugar. And then you have starch, which is like a complex carbohydrate. Then you also have things like your cellulose, which makes up the thick fibers of your trees and your plants. That's also your carbs. So you have simple carbs and you also have complex carbs. Your simple, complex, right? And the fundamental responsibility of carbohydrates in the physical structure is basically for giving you energy. So you utilize sugar, carbohydrates to give your physical structure energy, which is critical. All right. So Sugars are found in like all plants have some level of carbs. All right. It is just that, are you talking about complex carbs, which are more difficult to digest, or are you talking about simple carbs, which would be the carbohydrates that's very easily accessible? So even when you eat a banana, right, or a breadfruit or a plantain, right, the complex carbohydrates within that plantain have to be broken down into the simple carbohydrate glucose, that your physical structure could actually absorb the glucose and utilize the glucose, burn up the glucose, right, to actually give you energy. So the fundamental purpose of carbohydrates within the physical structure is energy. Then you have what you call your vitamins, right? So vitamins are what you call vital amines. So you have your fat-soluble vitamins, and then you have your water-soluble vitamins. So your fat-soluble vitamins would be vitamins A, vitamins D, vitamins E, vitamins K, ADEK, right? So all these vitamins are what you call fat-soluble vitamins. So they would literally be found in more fatty foods, more foods with fats and oils and these different type of things. Then your other vitamins, the vitamins B's, your vitamin C, and your vitamin K, and all the different vitamins, these vitamins are what you refer, not vitamins K. These other vitamins would be what you call your water-soluble vitamins. So A, D, E, and K, fat-soluble, and all the other vitamins are what you call water-soluble vitamins. Why are they called vitamins? Because they are vital. They are vital. Vitamins, in the absence of certain vitamins, people die. You know, absence of proteins, people get kwashiorkor, you get a sickness. Absence of starch or sugar, your physical structure can still utilize fats and other things to create energy, right? But vitamins, if you have a vitamin A deficiency, you go blind, get night blindness, right? If you have vitamins D deficiency, you get rickets, your bones don't even form properly, right? You have vitamins E deficiency, I mean, your immune system like is down, your skin breaks up, everything, your colors of your mouth split. Vitamins B deficiency, if a woman is pregnant and she doesn't get vitamins B6, folate, her child develops spina bifida, meaning that the development of the child doesn't even complete properly. The spinal column opens up and you can actually see the spinal cord. So at the end of the day, if you actually lack in vitamin K, your blood won't clot, right? So it is critical that we understand that when it comes to nutrition, nutrients, your food ultimately is your medicine. Vitamin C deficiency, when the sailors used to sail from the United Kingdom to St. Lucia, the British, you know what I mean? When the British used to sail from Britain to St. Lucia and to Barbados and to all these, I mean, 80% of them used to die in their boats. Why? Because of vitamin C deficiency. Until they discovered that if they use lime, when they start to use limes, that's why they call the British limeys. They call them limeys because when they used to come through them, they used to load up their boats with lime and everything just to cross the Atlantic to go back into Britain, because sucking a lime can save your life. Right? So your vitamins are what you call your vital amines, critical. Now, you have your minerals. Your minerals now, you have trace minerals and you have macro minerals. Like your minerals are critical. Minerals are like you have, minerals is like the steel in your concrete. Minerals give everything shape and form, right? So your thyroid gland here uses iodine. Iodine is a mineral that is critical for your metabolism. All right? So if you have a deficiency in iodine, your fruit gets this big with goiter. Okay? Iron is a mineral. If you have low levels of iron, what do you get? Anemia. Okay? Then Your blood cannot carry oxygen. All right? If you have a deficiency of sulfur, you could develop diabetes because you need sulfur to activate the peptide bonds of your insulin. If you have a deficiency of calcium, your bones will get porous. If you have a deficiency of what other mineral you could think about? Of potassium, your heart will swell. Magnesium, your pressure will be elevated. Right? So it is critical to understand that your minerals, the minerals. So when I say protein, protein is not a mineral. Protein is a type of nutrient, is a type of nutrient all by itself. You know, protein is not a mineral. Protein is a type of minerals. All your potassium, sodium, zinc, selenium, all these different things, they are minerals. As a man, if you have zinc deficiency, your prostate can enlarge just because you have zinc deficiency, right? So it is critical that you understand that. Yet still, there is a type of nutrient that we are hardly taught about, which are what you call your phytonutrients. Your phytonutrients. Your phytonutrients, which is your plant nutrients. Okay? Now, these phytonutrients would include your terpenes. Terpenes. Now, the terpenes is what would literally give the plants the smell. All right, so citral would give lemongrass its smell. The smell lemongrass have comes from a very specific terpene. The smell that oranges have comes from a very specific terpene. Right, so terpenes, like curcumine or curcumine, comes from in the turmeric, contains a large variety of protective properties, anti-inflammatory properties that could actually assist the physical structure in healing, right? So this is what actually gives the plants that beautiful aura, the flowers, the aura, and also the flavor. So most terpenes are used in aromatherapy, right? The smell of rosemary, the smell of lavender, right? All these different terps or terpenes are very critical. Now the plant use them for their own defense, right? And also the plants smell beautiful to attract insects to help in pollination. But for us, now, we could use these terpenes as means of boosting up our immune system for the antioxidants properties and for also anti-inflammatory properties and the many different medicinal benefits that you could actually get from your terpenes. All right, so like your citruses would smell like lemon. Yeah, like lemon contains limonene. So all that, see that citrusy smell? Lemon, lime, orange, right? All these things there is because of a particular phytonutrient that is within it. Okay, so then you have all your mangoes and all these different fruits. They have some beautiful smells. Why? Because of the terps that are found within these plants. Also, phytonutrients. You have what you call your polyphenols. Your polyphenols. And they are what you call phenolic substances, which are polyphenols are substances or biochemicals that the plant would actually produce as a means of defending itself. Or if it is under some stressful conditions, then the plant produces specific polyphenols like flavonoids, right, to actually help to defend itself. So the more stressed a plant is, the more polyphenols it actually produces. A very good example of this is in winemaking. All right. So in the French countries where they make the wines, to increase the polyphenol, the health benefits of the red wine, the grapevines are stressed. The grapevines are stressed that the plant itself could produce more of the polyphenols that's benefit for heart health. So now you might remember that growing up, your grandmother probably used to stick a nail into a tree, or if a tree is not bearing, take where the branch is split, like I put a stone in between it, right? Our ancestors use all types of stressing mechanisms to increase the viability of the plants that they are actually growing. Now science tells us, okay, well, it's polyphenol, so at least now everyone is listening to that. Then you have things like your alkaloids. The alkaloids are more times beta chemicals, like ricin and all this. Like, you see, like there are certain, the alkaloids is what you'll find in the coca plant, like cocaine, and like the coca plant, the cocaine is an alkaloid. Lidocaine is an alkaloid. Codeine that they use come from plants is an alkaloid. You know, many of these plants, they contain specific chemicals that actually contain some wonderful properties, sedative, painkilling, you know, anesthetic, right? So we must understand that okay, even the tannins are chemicals, are phytonutrients in plants that are also beneficial, but most times they use tannins to tan things. Like tannins, they tan, the colors are so rich and and buoyant that they can use the tannins in plants to dye things. So if it is that you have, like, even when you look at the mahogany plant, you know, I mean, if you just soak the mahogany plant, I mean, you could see the color that comes out is the tannins. Eh? So these things are used in that realms, but also they also have medicinal properties. Now, if it is that you have that level of knowledge about your product, so whatever it is that you are trying to sell, if you have that level of knowledge about your product, people only listen to people that sound like they know what they're talking about. If you don't know what you're talking about, who's going to listen to you? If you don't know what you're talking about, they say, I was say, right? Nobody's going to listen to you. But when you know what you are talking of, when you understand exactly what it is that you are speaking about, definitely people is gonna be listening to you. So remember that knowledge is the key. If it is that you want to utilize nutrition, nutrients as a means of marketing what you are doing, you have to know exactly what your growing contains. I remember when we came, remember the point in time, coconut water never used to sell like that. At a point in time, I remember in 2007, 2006, 2006 and 2007, they closed down the coconut factory in St. Lucia, where we used to make our bear rouge, or we call Becca, and also used to make our coconut oil. They closed down that factory and said that coconut oil contains cholesterol and it's bad for you. Okay? They say that coconut oil contains what? Cholesterol, bad for you. I remember that we closed the copra factory in Soufrière because of that. And I remember doing a news item about that. I wanted that news item is still there, where I burn a fire on that and thing. I went into London that same time, and I was doing, I had a ministry in the United Kingdom, and I was doing like classes with London Probation and Union and also Hackney Community College, and we had TV and radio programs, you know. And we used to have like classes every Wednesday night on Brixton Road. Just educating people about the benefits of coconut. Now, when the people got educated, they began going to the supermarkets and ask for coconut, for dry coconut. Everybody want to make money, you know. The supermarket want to make money. So if you as a client go to the supermarket and say, hey, you have dry coconut, and then somebody else come and say, you have dry coconut. Somebody come and say, you have dry coconut. You have dry coconut. Yeah. By the end of the week, you'll see they sell dry coconut. Even if they never used to sell it, they'll start to sell it because they want to make the money. Right? So that was a lie. So the same way that nutrition or nutritional marketing can uplift you, it destroyed an entire industry in St. Lucia, the copra industry. Destroyed it. Right? And it was an inaccurate statement. When coconut really contains medium chain fatty acids that's much more easily digested, in fact, brings down cholesterol, in fact, helps with schizophrenia, Alzheimer's disease, brings down blood sugar levels, and the list goes on and on and on, yeast infection and on and on and on and on. Now, when people got educated about the coconut, what happened to coconut? Now a bottle of coconut oil is about what? 20 something dollars. If you have to get a bottle of oil like this, how much is that? Eh? Expensive. You have to buy it all what probably $25, $40 you have to buy it now. And virgin coconut oil, you buy that all what probably $70. Right? So at the end of the day, when you are educated and you have that power to speak truth to power through your words, educate people about the things that you are selling, definitely you can create markets. I don't believe in like following trends. I create the trend. I'm not a trend follower, I'm a trend setter. Right? So you don't have to sit down and allow people to tell you what to sell. You could take, if you want to sell, if you have parsley and you want to sell your parsley, take a time. Go on the internet, do what you call scholarly article researches, and then see the research that have been done on parsley. See that it's what you call an electrolyte sparing diuretic. It can help to bring down the blood pressure, right? See that it's very good for urinary tract infections. See that it's very rich in whatever potassium, right? So it actually reads about your sodium. So when you study your plants, when you study the foods that you are actually growing, and when you align yourself with education, when you align yourself in a manner that you could actually speak upful things about what you are doing, then who can stop you? Even the coconut water, I remember when we begin to talk, when coconut water was never selling like that every time. People never used to drink. They say, well, I talk about the cocoa. You can't make the cocoa set, all type of thing people say. But now look at how tempting they're selling. Right now, you can't even get a dry coconut. One dry coconut is about $4. So my sisters, I don't know if you have brothers here, but my sisters that I have, I was sure if you go look at brother, there is a brother there. Go give thanks. You guys say Helen daughters, I don't know where the Helen sons are. Uh-huh. You don't have to be a follower. Okay? You could literally create. You could create. You could, trust me, you could speak about your things, you could create. You can create. That power is in your hand. And nutrition is the biggest tool that you have when it comes to agriculture. When you agree with culture, agriculture, nutrients, and not just only your macronutrients. Remember, we look at the macronutrients, the proteins, the fats, the carbohydrates, and all these different things, right? But then you also have your phytonutrients, those nice small little chemicals that, you know, but some of them can kill you too. Like your castor oil contains resin, which is a very toxic substance. The castor bean, if you eat like 3 of the castor bean, you will start vomiting and pooping from tonight until tomorrow morning. You know, But then if you drink a nice cup of fennel and basil and some guava leaf tea, it will stop it. Right? So it is critical that you understand our nutrient content of our plants, of our foods, and trust me, this is the hammer, the sledgehammer, and the jackhammer that's gonna break up all these walls that's preventing you from reaching your market. So I could only say that I am a living example of that. I create markets. Over the years, I've created markets. Herbs that never used to sell, I am the one that make them sell. From your gully root, what they call the feuille du vent. That's what we sell. The herbs we sell. Whatever I have today is just not marijuana. I never make money like selling marijuana. I make all my money. I make money selling soursop leaf, soursop leaf, red raspberry leaf, St. John's bush, and patchouli, and carpenter, and basil, and my hunt. Huh? Yeah. So I have already done it, so you could do it. Whatever I can do to assist you into fulfilling this mission, estoy aquí. Estoy aquí. So whatever you need, let me know. I will definitely be willing to assist you. As our time was, like this, I know it's a 2-hour session. It's about 7:23. I know that there'll be questions. What I would do now is that, I had to really, I had intended to do some, I'm even at a different computer and everything. I really intended to show something, but I know that you get enough education there, definitely. So I will leave the balance of the time for interaction and questioning. So at least I could be the concerns and the questions that people might have. Definitely, I would be able to deal with it. Okay. See, someone is asking, what do you think about dehydrating the herbs packet? Let me see that. What do you think about dehydrating the herbs, packing and marketing them? But that's what I'm. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's great.
There are also some questions in the Q&A box, so I will read them out for you. Also, the poll has already been launched, so if you could take some time, participants, to cast your vote. First question from Sunita. What is matting?
What is what? Martin?
Matting.
I don't know what she's talking about. Martin in what sense?
Well, hopefully she can respond so she could elaborate on her point. Next one, what are some plants that are best for protein? And if I want to stop eating meat protein, so what will be the substitute for meat protein? And what are the plants that are best for protein?
We don't really say like, there are plants like all your things like chickpeas and pigeon peas and all them things are full of proteins. And as I said, every plant contains protein. I don't really go out eating looking for proteins, right? I don't do that. Every single plant contains protein. Okay? As I said that all enzymes are proteins, so every specific single, every specific food and every specific plant and peas and beans, everything contains protein. So all you have to do is have diversity in your food.
Okay, so a few questions are asking how can they contact you?
Or well, we have a website, montkailashloo.com. They could go via our website, or we on Instagram, right? Honorable Priest Kailash, or just send us an email, info at montkailashloo.com. That's MOUNTKAILASH, SLU as in St. Lucia, SLU.com. And I'm sure that our people at Helen's Daughters would have our contact information.
Thank you so much. So Ms. Smith, I see your hand is up, so I'm gonna allow you to speak so you can ask a question. You can go ahead.
Hi, good night. Okay, I know he did not mention no fruit there right now, but because of he's so informative and he's so versed on those plants and stuff, I would like to know because a lot of people don't know about, we call it fat pork. What is the benefit of fat pork? I grew up as a child eating that. I love it, actually plant it and I'm eating it. But I really don't, because I'm trying to get the real name and I'm trying to look for information on it and I cannot because I don't know if there's another name, but I know it as fat pork. So give me some insight on that fruit,
Yeah,
please.
fat pork is like it's very rich in iron, and also the seeds rich in zinc. So it's not only the flesh, it's good to eat the seed that's inside of the hull also. When you
Yes,
first
yes, it
when
tastes
you
really
after you suck the sweet thing on it, and it's also it's good to eat the skin, and the fiber is excellent. There's something called signatures of herbs. Signatures of herbs or foods. I did talk about fruits. We might talk about lemon and lime and lemonine and or the mango and the smell of the fruits and the sugar in the fruits, fructose. All right, so these things there also, like the fat pork. I mean, the red one would be good to build blood. That's a signatures of herbs. Most herbs or most foods that are red or things, they just align themselves to different parts of the physical structure. So zinc, extremely rich, fat pork. You could use it for that.
thank you.
Okay, yeah.
You. The next question is asking what herbs can be used to cleanse or purify your home?
Your home.
Yes.
Well, the first purification is like cleaning it, just normal cleaning. Before we go into the esoteric, we have to just do the normal, like just cleaning. Then you could utilize herbs like um, feuille du vent, which is what you call gully root, Petuvera alliaceae. That's excellent for cleaning. All right. And also you could use that if you use seawater. But gully root is a powerful herb to do that.
Just to clarify, Melissa, your question was answered. The question pertaining to dehydrate herbs, packaging and marketing them. That was the first question that was answered. Next question. Is there an actual literature coming from your organization about our local herbs?
Yeah, we have a book called the Herbal Manual. The Herbal Manual, yes.
All right, thank you. The next question is, what herbs/vitamins can be used for persons who's going through menopause?
What when they pause on man? Men on pause? What are you talking
Men
about?
menopause and women.
Men on pause?
Men on pause.
Anyway, you press play. If you pause, just press play. Yeah, I mean St. John's bush, red raspberry. You could use St. John's bush is very good. Carpenter's bush, what they call Zeb Chapotier, definitely. Yeah, very good for balancing the hormones, boosting up your estrogen levels.
Thank you so much.
Mm.
The next question is asking from Jacqueline, where can she purchase your book?
Where is Jacqueline from? St. Lucia or some other
I'm,
place?
I think she's from St. Lucia, but I'm stand to correction, but I think she's from St. Lucia.
Okay. Yeah, well, our books are available at the Greens End, that's in Rodney Bay. Also available at the Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center. I know Helen Daughter is supposed to visit there from last year, but we're waiting for them to visit still. So probably when they visit, Jacqueline can probably get her copy there.
Melissa is asking to repeat your answer as it pertains to her question with the dehydrated herbs.
You never heard what they say, pwet paka poche de coup? You know, I'm a priest, right? They pwet paka poche de coup. You know what that means?
No,
You don't speak Creole.
no, I don't. I'm from
Oh,
Vincent.
oh, it's from St. Vincent,
Yeah,
SVG. All
yeah.
right. They said the priest doesn't preach his sermon twice, just once. Yeah, but I mean, dehydration is there's dehydration and there's curing. All right. Dehydrating is more commercial. Curing, at a very particular temperature, which would be like probably about 18 degrees Celsius. If low humidity, about a 50% humidity would actually allow you to maintain a lot more of the terpenes. Okay. So curing would be in a dark space, cool temperature, low humidity. That's good, but dehydration can also work. All you have to do is just do it at a low temperature, probably about a 50 degrees, 60 degrees Celsius, and yeah, and allow it for a long time, then put in a high temperature to bake it and cook it.
Thank you so much. The next question is, where in Mount Kailash located, and can we get information on the tour? Information on the tour, yeah. So where is it?
Yeah, well, Mont Kailash is in Saint Lucia. That's in Macbexon, which is on the outskirts of Castries. It's on Google. So if you just put Mont Kailash Rejuvenation Center, Saint Lucia, yeah, and just go on maps, it will take you there. Okay.
Thank you. Can I
Yes.
use beets, orange, and broccoli for building blood?
I would say I mean, most of them things there is things that like some herb that grow somebody else would grow your bits also. If you grow in your thing yourself, that's good. For blood building, the most natural thing would be your Zepina, Amaranthus dubious, what they call Kalalu, right? I would use that before I use any of them other things as mentioned. The Zepina, it grows wild, and also the red raspberry. All right, so I think that the indigenous foods that grow in our spaces, what they call a Zepina, what they call the Kalalu, or they call it Baji in Trinidad. Yeah, that's a potent blood builder.
Thank you so much. Anonymous asked a question, very interested what you stated about the need in protein from animals. These can be found in plants. We are creating an alkaline food forest here in St. Vincent, and I'm interested in Dr. Sebi work and his recommendation for alkaline food. So
But that wasn't a question, was it?
it was a statement while reading it out. Next question is there a place other than scholarly articles that we can get to know the nutrients content of food relevant to the country that it is grown? Just like coconut, we do not want to undervalue our produce. So she's asking if there's any article relating to the nutrients content for the food relevant.
Well, a scholarly article is just like a research paper. All right, and it's good to get your information from research papers. Okay, so it's not like a scholarly article, it's like just like one article. So if you do a Google search, it will tell you news, sports, images, whatever. But then in that search, there will be scholarly articles. So there'll be like PubMed, Healthline, if there is this organization in China or India or wherever that have studied. So you could get all that information just to give you an idea of what you have actually contains. It's not a scholarly article, is not just one space or one thing. It is just studies, research that have been done on whatever it is that you are looking for.
Thank you very much. Next question, how does one know how much of these herbal plants to use?
Well, I mean, how many leaves you think you could put in a cup? I mean, people as actually really you know because of what you call pharmacies and drugs, like pills. You could, if you have a thing of pills, you could overdose, right? So people associate herbal medicine with pills, but herbal medicine and pills is two different things. Um, in our ancient African studies, we do the spirit of interconnectedness, whereby when someone is sick, the entire community is really sick. And we deal with synergy, where we use all the aspects, everything that in the plant come together to actually provide the healing. So growing up, it was always like 3 leaves, 5 leaves, You really can't eat, you could only eat that much pineapple. Remember, pineapple also have healing properties. Pawpaw, you could only eat that much pawpaw. So dosages came from the drug era because they extracted one specific active ingredient. Like in aspirin, it's salicylic acid. So if you drink too much aspirin, you might just bleed to death. All right. But then if you look at the black willow plant that has salicylic acid, how much back can you drink? Probably 1 cup, 2 cup. So you can't really overdose. So it is critical that we just that kind of mind space, but then um our ancestors always use odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, leaves, them kind of way there, right? And the herbal manual also have dosages. So if you get a copy of herbal manual, you could see exactly what to do.
Thank you so much. Do we have red nettle in St. Lucia?
Red nettle.
Yes.
There is the that grows the red veins, and there is the white one.
Okay. Can one?
The red one stings a lot more. A lot more. It contains more serotonin. The reason why nettle stink is because of the serotonin content.
Thank you so much. Next question is from Christina. Can
Are,
one?
are, are people really getting these answers, or because we're just going from are they really absorbing what I'm saying?
I would like to believe so. So
All
yeah,
right, give thanks. All right.
because they're both replying in the comments. One
Okay, give thanks.
by saying thank you. Christina is asking, can one freeze dry the herbs?
Yeah, you could freeze dry anything.
Okay. Next question from an anonymous attendee. You've mentioned diabetes can be caused by a lack of certain vitamins or minerals. Do you think the consumption of excessive sugar can also cause diabetes, or it's just a symptom that makes diabetes harder to control? What is the really root cause?
Well, I mean, that was just one example. Remember, diseases are multifaceted. Even the spirit, every disease have its own spirit. So the spirit of being a diabetic is a spirit of stubbornness. So stubborn people does get diabetes. In St. Lucia, we call it tet wed. When you're in your head hard, mm, yeah, tet wed, hard-headedness, stubbornness, because the diabetic is the person that know that's something bad for them, and they'll sneak and then they'll use it. I'm sure if you know a diabetic yourself, they'll hide a packet of biscuit or some Coca-Cola or some soft drink someplace, and then when they think nobody's watching, they'll still drink it. If it is that you are genuinely open and humble and submissive to knowledge and information, that reversing diabetes is one of the simplest things. So apart from the fact that we said sulfur deficiency, because can lead to the lack of activation of the polypeptide bonds, that actually the trisulfide bonds that make the insulin molecule active. You know, lots of an extremely stress lifestyle can lead to type 2 diabetes. Um, Pregnancy, you have diabetes, what you call gestational diabetes, because of increase of estrogen. And then you have type 1 diabetes, which is basically autoimmune, where the cells that produce the insulin within your pancreas, the beta cells, are actually destroyed. So to each his own. Every person have to look at, it's not just one simple definition. The individual himself would have to be able to reason and see exactly what causes their condition, how is it that they could actually eradicate it.
Thank you. Next question is, where can I get comfrey plants?
Comfrey, we have some in the mountain.
Okay, thank you. Next question, what plants are good for inflammation?
Turmeric, anti-inflammatory, Spanish needle, anti-inflammatory, ginger, carpenter's bush, plenty plants, plenty.
Thank you. Next question is, what kind of herbs would you recommend for fibroids?
Fibroid is more lifestyle.
Mm.
Okay, fibroids is caused by estrogen dominance. And 80% of women who are traumatized, basically abused sexually, verbally, physically, or go through some level of trauma, they would result in they having polycystic ovarian syndrome or fibroids. So they need to deal with their trauma. They need to go inside and deal with their trauma. Okay, that's the first step. That takes care of 70% of the problem. Then you look at herbs like St. John's bush, red raspberry, dog blood. All these herbs there could actually assist. But definitely it's a lifestyle.
Thank you. Before we move to you, Miss James, let me just answer the questions that are here. Next question is, okay, what are the benefits of black seed oil inside the body?
Well, they say it's cancer fighting. That's what they say. You know, see all these different things there because I don't really plant black seed and thing, but you could just read some articles, but it is good for the immune system. No, black seed oil is basically sesame seed oil. All right. So it is good to some extent, yeah. But yeah, where's that person from asking that question?
Let me just double check.
Probably they could look at coconut oil. Look at the oils look at the things that grow in your exact environment. And then you could, and see how you could utilize them. Most of the things that you have to import or buy from somebody else. Yeah.
So just to verify, I think Jacqueline is from St. Lucia.
Oh, Jacqueline asking 20 questions.
Althea, if someone is allergic to sulfur and can't take insulin, what can you recommend?
And they cannot take insulin?
Yeah.
That is something. If someone allergic to sulfur and can't take insulin,
Yes.
I don't know. If someone allergic to sulfur, but I mean, if you I mean, remember, a lot of foods have sulfur. I don't know what type of sulfur they're talking about. When I talk about sulfur, I think the mineral sulfur in the food. So Feiduvan, which is garlic root, has sulfur. Um, a lot of proteins actually contain sulfur. Many plants contain sulfur. Many nuts contain sulfur. Many grains contain sulfur. So I don't know what they call sulfur in medication. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't use sulfur like that in medication. And can't take insulin. I don't what about insulin injections. I was more talking about sulfur in your foods that help to activate your peptide bonds within that makes the insulin that your physical structure actually produce to be more active. I'm not talking about insulin injection and all that.
Thank you. Miss James, I'm gonna give you permission to speak, so you could go ahead and ask a question now.
Good night.
Yes, hello.
I basically wanted to know, as I remember buying the St. John's bush from you when you were opposite the old fire station, I wanted to know if I could find the red raspberry at the Green Zen, and also if you could use soursop leaves to lower your blood pressure.
Yeah, you could find a red raspberry by the Green Zen. But I mean, if you to lower blood pressure, the best thing is to cut down on your sodium. And sodium is not is salt, not just table salt, but sodium in cow's milk, monosodium glutamate when it comes to MSG, sodium baking soda or baking powder, which is sodium. If you're a bread lover, your pressure will always be high. Stop eating bread for a week and see what happens to your pressure. All right. And to bring down your blood pressure, you have to look at herbs that are diuretic in properties, like your stinging nettle, your parsley, your dandelion, your vervine, and all these things there. All right, Miss James, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next question is, what would you recommend for period pains?
It's same effort we were marketing nutrition. This is why we're having consultations. Bay leaf. Bay leaf, right? You could drink a bay leaf tea, St. John's bush, all them different things. They're excellent. Okay? I have not received one question about marketing. Yeah?
The next question is in marketing.
Sister Kiflin will have to organize a health thing for her members.
Definitely. The next one is, what do you think about watermelon diet? You eat watermelon only for breakfast, have a heavy, healthy lunch, and eat only watermelon for dinner.
Well, that's not a watermelon diet, huh? Yeah, I don't believe in them kind of things. I just believe in balance, you know. Yeah, I don't follow trends. I more feel that, just be open, see what works for you. If it works for you, then voila, give thanks. But I believe that as an individual, just take it, just examine yourself, see how it works with you. Everyone is unique, everyone unique and special in the eyes of the creator. So I don't just follow trends and diets. Remember, it's diet. Diet. Okay. So
Thank you very much. Miss Smith, I'm going to give you permission to speak. I think I already did, so you can just unmute and ask your question, please. Miss Smith?
You hearing me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. I was there laughing and all through the thing. I'm saying, okay, he was asked, we were supposed to be asking questions on what he was saying, and I think everybody's trying to get something else, but that's fine. He already said, okay. All right. I want to know, do you sell the dandelion plants? Because I get that to be marketing too. So do you sell the dandelion so I can get a plant, buy a plant?
yeah, you get a plant, yeah.
Where do I go from to buy the plant?
Well, we in on the mountain, Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center. You could contact us. 722-3660.
Okay, John, don't repeat the number. 722
3660.
3660.
3660.
Yes. Thank you so much. Because I really want to get a plant. And thanks for the information for the fat book, because I realized the young people not eating that. I have it and I'll bring it even in my church, and I'm like, I'm like, we don't eat that. I say, wow, our young people not eating that. So now,
Yeah,
as you say, the inside.
apple wax, apples with wax in it and grapes. I love fat pork.
Yeah, and now as you said about the zinc, it's the inside the white part, like the coconut is zinc,
Yeah.
and it's good for the blood. I will surely start saying it to them so that they can start eating it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that information.
Probably if you take it and you dry it and you put it in a bag and you sting it, they'll like.
You mean the fat pork?
Yeah, anything in a bag, people will like.
But to me, it's better fresh from the tree to eat
Yeah,
it.
well, I know that. I know. I'm just telling you, people just like that make so man,
Oh, I understand you.
Yeah. The marketing, Marketing.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yes. Omega fat pork juice. And say, you wanna get fat? Use fat pork.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna start from the bottom up with the Q&A. So the first question is how difficult it was to get your products marketed internationally.
Well, yeah, it was like initially I had to use use people from overseas and send them over there because you had to get FDA certification you know. So, but all these difficulties are good, why? Because it just allows you to build up capacity. Yeah, and even up to now, with the other new tariffs and everything, with this new administration, you still get challenges that you have to navigate through. So just go through the process, just go through the process, because at the end of the day, you know, is these processes help you to just raise up your standard, so I don't look at it as difficulties. I look at it as going through the process, but now, we ship all throughout the world. It's a global market, you know. And before, we used to have difficulties too with like just collecting our money, because if you use PayPal, then you have to wait a whole month to get your money. Now these things have changed, because now probably you could open up a bank account in some other country and you could get it, or some of the local banks can help with e-commerce, but then, I mean, our biggest difficulty was that when the demand got to so high that we had to begin planting herbs. So even like somebody asking for a red raspberry plant, that demand was so high that there were like hundreds of orders behind that, right? But like right now, I had to plant at least a huge piece of red raspberry, just plant the herbs. So don't wait until things finish for you to start to look for it. Always think of sustainability, the future. The things that you use, plant a lot of it.
Thank you so much. Emmanuel, I'm going to give you permission to speak, so you could go ahead and ask your question, please. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. With regards to contraindications of medication, like for example, we take medication over the counter and some contraindicate each other, just like in plants. How do I direct somebody, do not take this plant while you're taking this plant, or take that and this, it can go together? I'm not sure how I can guide the person along.
Yeah, we have a school called the Mont Kailash Herbal School of Esoteric Knowledge. We have a course beginning in March. Probably you could register for that course. That'll teach you, because contraindications, it's a real thing. For instance, certain hypertension medication, you can't use citruses. Just doesn't work. And probably if you on like a blood thinner, you probably shouldn't use turmeric or chapana or some other herbs that actually thins the blood also. If you have a clotting disorder, probably you shouldn't use dark leafy vegetables. So it is critical that you study it. That's how you could learn. You have to study, take time out and study it. So we do have a school. Yeah, so if you need to learn, you could probably come on that and learn that.
Okay, is this school on online,
Yeah, online and in person. So
or
it's
in
like
person or online?
yeah, online and in person. So there's about a 5 months of online work, and then you have to come up to the mountain for like 10 days of practicum.
Okay, and one more thing, like I noticed you did mention like the red nettle and the citrus and all of those. Do I still have to go to the school so I can know, do I take an inch? Do I take a pound? Do I take 2 leaves? Do I take 5 centimeters?
Well,
As to, mention.
as I said, like it depends, right? So if you're dealing with a cancer patient who, then you might have to use a machinery, some like pong, almost like a whole pong of herbs to get about a 4 ounce, probably about 100 milliliters, of extract to give the person. If the person probably just wants to relax, you might just give them a tablespoon of dried vervine leaf. It's very relative to what the client actually needs. So there's not like a standard thing. So for instance, if you're using like King of the Forest or Cassia Lata, you can someone who is severely constipated might need like 21 leaves. Another person might drink 3 leaves and then they might have diarrhea. So it's critical that you understand what the person needs, what their needs are, then you could actually guide them properly.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next question. Have you partnered with any international businesses and what regulations you had to pass? Are there countries that are banned or do not accept your produce? Especially since we are seen and classed as third world countries.
I never see myself like that. And it's more the other ways. Who would I allow to partner with me? I never see myself like that. I mean, without confidence, you're twice defeated in this race of life. So I never began I was never the man with little confidence or thinking like somebody doing me a favor. As I said, I create products and I develop trends. So I more choose my partners because of the integrity of what I want to do. It's not like I'm looking to see if that big company or this or that. Most times you go with a big company, but after 2 months, you not even part of that company again. So try to build up your own niche. Have what we have a principle called the fruit tree principle. When you plant let's say an orange tree or coconut tree, you have to wait 4 or 5 years to harvest. So don't just do things and expect to just bam and right away everything blessed. So you take your time, you have a strategy, you plan, you give yourself 5 years. As you grow and you develop and you build your brand, you build your brand, you build your brand. I've been in what I'm doing there for 25 years. From the time I left medical school, I've never worked for anyone. So it's you have to really, really be focused on what you want to do and maintain the integrity of yourself and what you want to bring to the people.
All right, thank you. What herbs are good for epilepsy?
Marijuana and if it comes to them, what they call shadow belly, that's also good.
Okay. What would you suggest for someone who had their thyroids removed?
Well, more than likely they'll be on thyroxine, you know. Um, Bladderwrack, which is what they call Bladderwrack is a good herb that they could use. Bladderwrack, Bladderwhrack. What role does consumer perception of healthy organic play in food purchasing decision? A lot. A lot.
They're asking also, is the herbal course open and what are the requirements?
The requirement is an open heart and ready to learn. Yeah. It begins in March. So if you on our page or you subscribe to our mailing list, definitely you'll get that information.
Thank you. How can we responsibly market plants for their health and nutritional benefits while ensuring consumers understand how to use them safely and avoid combination that may counteract each other?
Study. Study. A simple answer.
Next question as a return to nutritional marketing. What aspect of the nutrition do you feel are most important to address when marketing to or consulting with consumer, especially to persons who are skeptical about using natural products?
Well, why would you want to market to someone who's skeptical? You have to look at your niche market. You don't start at the point of trying to get someone who's skeptical to like your product. You look at who that's why when you're marketing, you have to look at who's your niche market. Who are you looking to target? Who are these people that who would more easily buy your product? In truth and in fact, it's on the contrary. I mean, you would, instead of trying to convince someone who doesn't like that, what I would say is that um, try to find out about the people that would be interested in natural products than trying to convince someone that is not interested. Some people will never be interested. Okay. Yeah, I never convince people. I provide information, and as long as you have sound information, yeah, The people that you convince are the same people that will write a bad review about your thing because they're already remember the placebo effect. When you try to convince people, these same people is the same people that come and gossip about your thing and make some false claims. So you have to be very careful. All right, try to look for your niche market. Your market research will tell you who are the people who most likely going to want what you have to give, where are they located, what's the age, da 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 da. You know, so you have to develop your market, build your market.
All right, thank you. Next question, as it pertains to the nutritional marketing, how can food businesses leverage current food trends to strengthen their marketing strategies and brand positioning?
Well, definitely right now everyone is in like wild foods, eh? You know, modern like all them synthetic foods. So I mean, just if you overstand the trend, you know that well, and then you could identify whatever products that you have that could actually tap into that trend. I mean, that's excellent. You know, and then people always want to know about what you call traceability. So you're not only selling a product, you're selling an experience, so that people could know what they buy and where it comes from, how it is grown, because now everyone is interested in what you call ethical growing. Okay, so it is critical that you just able just to reach that, understand what it is, and just reach that.
All right, thank you. Somebody was asking how much is your course in March?
I don't discuss them things like that.
Okay.
It's on
There
the yeah, it's on the website.
Okay, thank you. There are some few questions that's not relating to the nutritional marketing, more of requesting what herb is best for this. Would you want me to proceed with asking you those questions?
I would only take about 3 more questions.
Okay, so before we do that, I will just give permission to Miss Eugene so she can ask a question. So you could go ahead, Eugene.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much for the sharing this evening. I just want to ask one with regard to, because you've spent a number of years, as you indicated, and as a young woman just starting, I don't know much about farming. I'm learning as I go. The course that you're doing, is there a certification? And when it comes to the herbal products, is there any one or any body, not person, but body in St. Lucia that's doing regulatory reviews? Because you see people around the street corner with different things, concoctions put together, and they're offering it to persons, to help them with their health. So I'm just asking, if I were to be more interested in the natural products and so on, when I've done your course, would I get a certificate, and then would that allow me to be able to use that as I move forward in that area? Thank you.
Yeah, our cost is a high-end cost, and our cost. Our cost. It's a high-end course because it's not. I'm not the only one teaching my course. So as I go online, so we have the head of the forestry department, who's an ethnobotanist. We have a historian from um, that is a PhD in history, teaching herbal medicine history. We have the head of the chairman of the Bureau of Standard teaching standards. So this is where you get your standards from St. Lucia. We have Dr. King teaching pathology. We have a doctor in pharmacology teaching pharmacology. We have academic writing. We have you know um, astronomy for the herbal physician. So it's not just like a roadside thing. It is something that, and when it comes to healing and dealing with people's wellness, it is something that you have to take with a lot of respect. So our cost is like a cost, and it costs, Yeah, so that's why we don't, when you want something, you don't ask how much it is, and you just go and buy it. If you need a tank of gas, you think you're going to ask how much it is, just buy a tank of gas, right? So when it comes to knowledge, you have to be able to value what is it that you want and how you intend to use that to actually uplift yourself. But the Bureau of Standards, definitely. especially since we exporting and all these things, that we had to, all our labels and things had to be approved by the Bureau of Standards.
All right, thank you so much. I'm just gonna ask 2 questions from the chat and the Q&A box, non-related nutritional marketing questions. So somebody is asking, they are a non-St. Lucian and they want to join your course. Is that possible?
Yeah, my courses, like in our last cohort, they got people from Dubai, England, America, Bahamas, St. Lucia. Yes, yes, a lot of people, all different kind of countries.
Okay. What do you think is the next trend? Herbs, fruit, or agri items that should be educated, aka marketed?
I didn't get I think your microphone caught off a bit. Could you just repeat that, please?
No problem. What do you think is the next trend, whether it's herb, fruit, or agriculture items that should be educated or aka marketed?
Makabu.
Mhm.
Makabu.
Okay.
You know what Makabu is?
No, as of intention, I do not.
Okay. It's what you call brewer banana.
Oh,
You know what brewer banana is?
I think I have an idea, but it's vaguely in my mind of what it is.
Aren't you part of Helen's daughters?
Yes.
Oh, you're supposed to know everything agriculture. You know, you agree culture, so is that
Uh,
is like the indigenous is the banana that it's not the plantain, nor is it our normal banana, it's the one that's a bit fat and round.
like fig, something similar to the fig.
Yeah. But it's not them kind of small fig banana,
Yeah,
yeah. It's the
thickish, like and a little bit longer.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
That's the flour in it. You could do that. The flour is very rich in iron, very rich in complex carbs that you could go into and mill it and create a flour. That's excellent. You know, that would be wonderful. That's a wonderful plant.
Thank you. And our last question would be, what is the hi?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
What is the good herb to market for sale for respiratory issues, especially when the Sahara dust is in the air?
Well, you have the asthma plant, which is a good herb, and you also have the leaf of life, which is the catalysum or caracterism on a love plant. These two herbs are very good plants.
All right. Thank you so much. There are more questions, but I guess we'll keep it at that limit.
Yeah, the time is up.
Yeah. So thank you so much for
We probably need to do a part 2.
definitely, because this was very an informative session. I learned a lot. So thank you so much for facilitating this session tonight, and we really appreciate it. And thank you so much for the attendees for attending and being patient, and at least a somewhat very interactive session tonight. So I want to thank
Okay.
you. So thank you so much.
Give thanks, honorable.
All right. Good night, everyone.